Hey everybody, how's it going? Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley. This isn't the studio. This is the rink. This is Ball Arena. The Avs just wrapped up their last home preseason game of the preseason. They got 2 more on the road, Meghan. They'll go to Vegas, then Dallas before wrapping things up, and then starting the regular season in LA here in just a week. We're so close. Meghan, not a lot of NHL regulars necessarily in this lineup, top 6 regulars, maybe a little bit more of an accurate way to put that. But that meant that there was a big spotlight shine on the line of Ross Colton, Jack Drury, who we've been waiting to see together, but then Gavin Brinley there also on the wall. What were your overall impressions of that line that contributed a couple goals tonight in a 4-2 win?
I think it's an embodiment of each of those players' strengths and what in combination they can do together. And obviously this is more specific to Drury and Colton together, but Brinley's a part of that as well. Vegas was managing their lanes after 2 periods. The blocked shot attempts was highly in favor of Vegas, and so it was difficult for the Avs to generate chances to inside ice. And so I like that the way that second goal between Drury and Colton gets scored is by a matter of driving to the net and being overwhelming and just too much to handle, too much to contain, so much so that the Vegas defenders have to kind of pick their threat in that moment, right? Because Brinley gets inside his guy, but also Jack Drury is right there to collect that puck from the net and throw it to a centering feed to Ross Colton, who's now also driving to the net. And so I think that's a combination of what these guys can do together. I think creating a goal off the rush too. It's just
2-on-1 in the first.
An example of speed, and being too much for a team to handle. And so I think the combination of Ross, look, like what's interesting too is it's Ross who's got more of the finesse in that pass across the ice to Drury on Drury's goal. And so I'd like to see, Drury finding Colton in that way, but Drury finding Colton in the more chaotic way on that second goal is still important because though it might not have the finesse, it's still intentional and there's an awareness involved. And so anyways, I liked it a lot, because it's born from hard work. It's born from some chemistry that's obvious between especially Colton and Drury that I think is going to become more important later on. And then the hard work, the high motor of Gavin Brinley just constantly being at the forefront of these plays as well with that line and just helping to Toyota RAV4 drive play. It's so complimentary of the high energy that Ross Colton likes to play with.
So that's 2 things there from what you talked about. One, what you just said there, and we talked to both Ross and Gavin Brinley about it after him playing with those 2 guys. I think those were 2 really good players for him to play with. When you and I have talked about him, we've said, can he have a little bit of that Logan O'Connor, like he's a high motor, just kind of a pest to play against. So I thought that was really good for him to get onto that line with 2 guys that's kind of their MO. But then also, I just go back to our conversation with Ross from, 2 weeks ago, where he said, we don't just want to be a line that goes out there and just kills time. Yes, it's a preseason game against not Vegas's best, but you saw so much what you were just talking about, those little hallmarks of what could make a line that features Ross Colton and Jack Drury so dangerous as a third line come the regular season. Gavin Brinley in particular, he's a guy that we've been highly keyed in on to, your point when we were talking earlier tonight. He's been productive in, I think, every game that we've watched him play so far in the preseason. I liked a lot of what he did tonight, and again, it came as a result, in my opinion, of him matching the energy of Ross Colton and Jack Drury.
He has an attention to detail that I think will take him a long way into his NHL career. The more and more that I see him, the more I see the ceiling upside of like an Arturi Lehkonen. And because I think he has the vision and the offensive instinct of a highly skilled player, but he's also pretty relentless in pursuit of the puck, staying above pucks, and then the attention to detail in the play away from the puck, including that 2-on-1
aggressive
Drury, Colton, that gets started in part because that outlet pass from Malinsky is made possible, finding Colton because of a play that Brinley makes along the wall, and also starting at the defensive blue line too, to force Vegas to feel they have no other options and they need to dump the puck, because he is just so aggressive and he utilizes his skating to make himself a constant threat on the ice that needs to be addressed. So anyways, look, again, I'm not putting him in the NHL lineup.
She is.
But there's obvious NHL upside here. Like, it's just a matter of time when the role becomes available.
Does it not make you pause just for a second and say, why was Columbus so quick to move on from this guy?
He had a tough AHL season. And here's the thing, like, he has to embrace what he needs to build into his game to become a depth player. And this is what excites me about tonight, is we get more reps with him on the PK as kind of that first unit out, right? Like I've seen him get reps on the PK through this point more intermittently, but this put a lot of responsibility on his shoulders as a penalty kill guy. Now, Jared pointed out this isn't top personnel on behalf of Vegas, so I want to see him against better power plays in the future, but that's kind of the next step for Brinley to build into his game, is to become a PK specialist, role player type guy. And so Arturi Lehkonen kills penalties too, right? Like he could still be the high-skilled player that maybe plays in a third-line role and can flex up in the lineup as needed one day, but he's got to build that other part into his game so that he's versatile. And if they need him in a depth role, right, if that's what becomes available that the Avs need in the near future, he's got to be ready for that too. And I think he's so good on the defensive side of the puck. There's so many built-in qualities already there that he just needs to hone it in.
Megan's got a new guy here on this in this prospect pipeline. Megan, real quick, and then we're going to get out. Sam Malinsky played on his offside, got off to a little bit of a shaky start. He was on the ice for a goal against, but really, I thought on the whole 60 minutes, led the team in ice time, and I think you're relatively happy coming away from this game with what Malinsky did. Yeah,
I think it was a big test, wearing a letter on his jersey.
Yeah,
I think being leaned on as a leader in that leadership core of Colton, Jury, Malinsky, I think it's important because I know even going back to his time at Cornell, like the way he leads is not going to be the most loud player, vocal from the bench. But I think the ice time is a reflection of what that needed to be for him tonight. And so I think being thrown onto the penalty kill was so important. That's like the next step in my eyes to Malinsky, very similarly, needing to become a more versatile player. So it's not just playing on his offside, it's also getting the PK reps in and becoming good at it in a way that we've seen Gerard have that become a strength. And honestly, like for Gerard, that ascension took place over time. Like Gerard didn't start with the Avs as a PK specialist. So where I'm going with that is it was an important game for Malinsky to get those reps on his offside, get more comfortable, and see the trust too from the coaching staff to put him in those positions. And so I think, especially as the game went on, he's getting more comfortable. I'm excited to see how that progresses as we get into the regular season and see him against top matchups, and it gets a little more challenging.
All right, that's going to do it here from Ball Arena. Avs take this one 4-2, head out on the road for 2 last preseason games, then get things rolling a week from today in LA. She's Megan, I'm Jesse. We'll talk to you guys later.